Alright, yesterday I made a review video of this phone right here, the LG Venice on Boost Mobile, and I didn't realize it until after I'd finished filming it, editing it, and uploading it to YouTube that I actually did kind of a bad job. I focused way too much on the negatives, and it's mostly because I'm really new at reviewing products. This is one of my first ones, and my inexperience means I kind of screwed up and didn't realize it until people started making comments and saying, geez, is there anything you actually like about the phone? And yeah, there is. My review was a little one-sided. Like I said, I did focus too much on the negatives, and there actually are some good things about this phone, some things I really do like. Now that I've gotten to mess around with it a little more, another day of using it out while I went to work and things like that, there are things that I kind of made sound bad in the first review that are actually fairly nice. I have grown to like this screen a lot more. Actually, when I was using it indoors earlier, it looked beautiful. Despite the fact there's a little bit of glare from the Gorilla Glass, which does seem to be a little bit more reflective than some glass, I do like it. The screen, since it is big enough to display a lot of web content, and the width of it in general just makes the keyboard easier to use than previous phones I've had, especially if you turn it into landscape mode. The keys are spaced far enough apart to where it's real easy to type on. Stylistically, it is a nice phone. LG was really trying to make something that looked elegant and stylish, and in that respect I think they succeeded. I do like the black that's accented by the smoked chrome metallic basically around the edges. The phone does look a lot more expensive than it really is. When the LG Optimus L7 originally launched, a lot of the professional reviewers talked bad about how they thought the phone was too black, and you can see LG obviously paid attention because when they released it on US Cellular and Boost now, they changed this backing to silver. Although I'm a fan of black, I would have much rather had it in black, and I thought it looked better that way, but this is a new one, and it's fairly nice. Depends on your personal preference, really. It's all color, so it's just cosmetic. Other than that, as you can see, the phone is really thin. It's only about 1/3 of an inch thick, and it's also very light. It weighs less than 4.5 ounces, so it's a fairly nice feeling phone to have in your hands. Some might have to get used to the angular edges on it. It is very rectangular, so for me, like I was trying to say in the first video, I'm used to a phone with more rounded edges, and with my Samsung Transform Ultra having a smaller 3.5-inch screen, it was smaller overall. The thickness was a little more because I did have a full slide-out keyboard, but if you're already used to having phones like this, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Now, for those of you wondering about call quality, I can tell you this much. Reception is great. In fact, if you look at the signal strength that's on top of the phone now, it's about 4 out of 6 bars, which might not seem too impressive to some of you people, but considering the fact that I'm actually pretty much out in the middle of nowhere at my mother's house, and I'm on the edge of a small town with a population that doesn't exceed 1,400, that's pretty good, because my previous phone, well, this thing just stomps the crap out of it, let me put it that way. My previous phone would only get 1 to 2 bars out here. This one consistently gets 3 to 5. Call quality is pretty good. Voice quality is fine, except the earpiece makes the voices sound very flat. And as far as the speakerphone goes, that one's definitely not good. The speaker, which is right here on the lower portion of the phone in the back, it sounds really harsh. If you've ever heard somebody turn up their speakerphone, their volume settings to maximum while it's on, and it sounds like the speaker can't handle the volume, that's pretty much what this thing sounds like the whole time, unless you turn it down to almost minimum volume. So I definitely don't like the speaker on it. Now, in addition to having a really strong internal antenna, there are some other good things about it. LG's user interface that they loaded on here does have some fairly cool features to it. As you can see, you probably noticed if you watched my first video that the icons I have on my screen here have changed a little bit from the last time. I've actually customized these. The only problem with it is they don't really offer any real selection for changing the icons, but if you were to hold an icon down like that, you'll see a little purple paintbrush up here in the corner. It just went away. And once you tap on that again, it basically, okay, that's the calculator. No. Let's try this again. Sorry, that's the calendar, not calculator. See, that's a little frustrating, but you see that it brings up this list of different icons, and it really doesn't offer you much choice here. For example, if you're going to change your contacts icon to something different, what else in this list looks like it really fits for an address book, except the one that they're already using? And really, like colored letters? Yeah, I'm going to change my contacts to the letter C instead. The options that you get are really fairly lame, but it is kind of cool that they give you the option to change it in the first place. And like this button shows down here in the bottom, you can create a photo icon using photos that you've taken, although I haven't messed with that because I don't feel like it, so I can't really speak on that. But besides that, widgets are customizable in size. Let's see what else here. Also, what's customizable is the actual screen transitions between home screens here. The animations, if you were to go into the settings, go to home screen settings, you can change your screen swipe effect there, and it has different animations. Right now it's on carousel, but you can see if I change it to panorama, it'll demonstrate what the transition is going to look like. Breeze is the one that's set by default on the phone. I haven't played around with the quick memo too much, which there is two ways to access. You can either go to the top notification bar and click this button in the corner, or you can simultaneously press the volume and up and down buttons on the volume rocker on the side, and basically it just allows you to take a picture or a screenshot, and then you can write on it with your finger or draw on it. So, for example, it should have just taken a screenshot of my home screen, and I can write whatever I want on here. Kind of cheesy, but semi-useful, I suppose, if you were to take a picture of a map and try to circle something and tell somebody where to go, or something similar to that effect. But it's not something I would really use too often. It's kind of cool also how you can move other certain icons around down here at the bottom. On previous Boost Mobile phones that were running Gingerbread, you couldn't do that. But again, that's LG's user interface here, where you can move stuff to wherever you want down here. I put the apps in the center just to make it look more like standard ice cream sandwich. By default, it comes with 4 icons down here instead of 5. A couple other things I do want to throw in here real quick. The phone does come with a ton of bloatware pre-installed on it and a bunch of stuff running in the background by default, so if you can turn that off, you will speed up performance some. And one other thing, speaking of that, is an issue that I'm having, and if anybody out there buys this phone after watching this, I'd like someone to comment and tell me if they experience the same thing. But for some reason, since I'm the type of guy who likes to turn everything off that's running in the background that I'm not using, such as I clear all the data out of Google Maps, I disable GPS when I'm not using it, and I also turn off Wi-Fi just to preserve the battery life. But this thing, even after I've turned Wi-Fi off, it keeps wanting to turn it right back on. Every time I go to turn it off, a few minutes later, it'll turn it right back on, and I don't know why, but it's really irritating. So just wondering if it's a fluke with my phone, or if anybody else out there gets this. Just let me know if you experience the same thing. So is it a bad phone? No. Did I kind of make it look like one in my previous review video? Yeah, and for that, like I said, I have to apologize. It was not my intention. It is a fairly nice phone, especially for the price. You won't find any non-contract phones around this price, usually with this size of screen, running ice cream sandwich, and with a certain level of customization that LG has allowed you here. Really, things do look pretty nice on this screen, and I am fairly pleased with it because it's still an upgrade from what I was using before. Not a strong upgrade, not a big one, but it is. So if you're using a phone that's similar to mine, this might be something you're interested in picking up. And thanks for watching again, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one a little more than my previous one, although it's just a quick look at some things I didn't cover in the last video, mostly the good features about the phone instead of all the negatives. So yeah, it's worth a look. Comments, suggestions, questions, they're all welcome. If you enjoyed this review video, I might be doing some more just like this in the future, so look out for those. And thanks for watching again, guys.